Good morning. Today on Spotlight, meet Omi Bell, the founder and CEO of Black Girl Ventures, better known around the country as BGV. Their mission, creating access to capital, capacity, and community for under-resourced entrepreneurs with great ideas. And later on our Sunday morning program, we'll talk to Alex Bahu, the digital director of WXYZ, about our website's big milestone that involves many of you. It's Sunday, December the 7th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. You are founder and CEO of Black Girl Ventures, which was started out of your apartment in your house about 10 years or so ago. What led to that?
Yeah, so I've done multiple things as an entrepreneur, tried multiple things. I've been laid off twice, and I just felt like I'm not going to go back into somewhere that can lay me off. So what could I do? I started experimenting with all the things I could do with my hands, landed on a t-shirt company, and my mom gave me $10,000 of her retirement. I took my tax returns to build that t-shirt company. And essentially during that time, I was on public assistance. I was doing all I could do. I had 3 kids. I was as a single parent. And building business is what got me off of Section 8 during that time. So as I was building that business was thriving and going. I was doing orders for Amazon and Google, and I was doing merch printing and my own t-shirt line. And I was like, I'm really lonely. Like I need something that's be based, like community feeds me. And then the news came out. At that time, Black women were starting businesses at 6 times the national average, yet receiving less than 1% of venture capital. Still to this day, women receive less than 2% of venture capital. And we've seen the stories of banks discriminating. We've seen the stories of people having lack of access to generational wealth. And so I was like, I can do something about this. And it's kind of crazy. It's a huge problem of like, I can do something about
You
this.
stepped out on faith.
I did. And literally, and it wasn't my house, it was a friend of mine in Southeast DC. He let me use his living room. I put it up on meetup.com, and 30 people showed up. We charged at the door, and we voted with marbles and coffee mugs. I cooked all the food myself. So it was like, if you like this person's pitch, you put a marble in their coffee mug. The person with the most marbles in their coffee mug, we gave them money from the door. Because my hypothesis was, if nothing else works out, what will work is community.
But the growth has been phenomenal. What do you attribute the success of your venture capital firm to?
Yeah, if you had asked me back then, did I think I would be on a Nike billboard, I would have been like, you're crazy. If you'd asked me back then, do I think I would have traveled internationally working with women in tech or serving over 30,000 people, I would have been like, that's crazy. So I empower and encourage people to just keep with your big visions. I think the success comes from simplicity. And I'll tell any founder out there, any entrepreneur, small business owner, figuring out the simplicity of your business model. And now we don't do pay at the door. Now you vote with your dollars. So people pitch, you vote with your dollars. Person wins, they get more capital. Like it's a very simple model. Even in the programs, other programs like the one that we brought to Detroit, pull up and pitch, simple as it sounds. Mic, person, judges, audience. Everybody come, shoot your shot, win some money on the spot. And I think when you have simple models, you're able to grow them quite quickly and exponentially.
You do these pull-up and pitches across the nation, so your reach is from East Coast to West Coast. You were recently in Detroit. The woman who ended up winning, a young person, was Arabia Simeon. She started a new company called Pogo, which is Politics on the Go, app that she created. We featured her not terribly long ago. She told us about what a big success and boost that was to her in terms of being a future entrepreneur. And she almost didn't go to the pitch competition. She went in, she did her pitch, she got it, she got $10,000, and the rest is history. I understand that Detroiters showed up in record numbers, and what is it about this city that, from your perspective, makes it a good place to launch entrepreneurs?
Well, there's a robust community. And I think so when we think about where we go as Black Girl Ventures, we look at the Great Migration. Where did Black people go after slavery, after people were free, after they were building businesses? Where are these different pockets of the country that people gravitated to? And in Detroit, you have a robust community. You also have like an ecosystem. So you have like Black Tech Saturdays. You have Monica Wheat, who's a major investor there. You have an ecosystem that's robust there that really cares about the people. No matter where you meet Detroiters, if they're from Detroit, they're repping hard and they're like, this is where we're from, this is what we do. And so we couldn't be more honored to be welcomed by the community. I take going into ecosystems very seriously. We want to be a helpful player. We want to add to that ecosystem, but we want to be a part of it. We don't just want to flash in the pan. So we have been in Detroit before with our traditional pitch. This is our first time bringing the pull-up and pitch to Detroit. And Detroiters got the message. 106 people pitched. Now the room was filled. We had over 200 people in the room at the Detroit Pistons Performance Center, but we had 106 people that actually came through, were able to get through the pitch. Not only that, recently we had a pull-up and pitch on TikTok where we gave away about $30,000. We also had a bunch of people from Detroit who didn't get the pitch on site come to that one as well. So we know that there's something special brewing in Detroit that we need to be a part of granting to.
All right, we need to get a quick little pause for the cause in here. We'll come back. I want to talk about funding, where you get the capital from to be able to distribute to all these budding entrepreneurs. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to Spotlight, talking to Omi Bell via Zoom from Los Angeles, California. She is the founder and CEO of BGV, which stands for Black Girl Ventures. Where do you get the funding from? You're a venture capitalist. I looked on the website. You've got Kroger's, you've got sports teams, you got all kind of folks. You can enumerate on some of the different companies that have partnered with you. What is it that they see in what you've done that is a hit for them?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. We focus on community, and so we look for organizations and corporations that have to care about community. They care about community. It matters to them that community is together. They care about small business owners. So we work with Nike. We work with Visa. We work with PIMCO. We work with Target. We work with multiple different kinds of corporations. PayPal. We work with the Washington Mystics. We work with NBA Foundation. So, I mean, we look for people who care about community.
You seem to have tapped into an underrepresented portion of the business market. Would that be fair to say?
I think it would be fair to say. And to the question of like, what do they see in us? You know, and because I want to inform people about BGV, but I also want to take time always to inform people out there growing businesses that are watching you. And it is as being an enthusiastic, charismatic leader with a great team and execution, right? I tell people like your execution is everything. The way that you put together what you have, the energy behind it, the soul of it. If you get like the soul of what we do is about people. Period. It's not about we can spin up any program.
It's storytelling?
Storytelling. 100%.
In a brief period of time, because you got what, 60 seconds to make this pitch?
Yeah, actually, it's brief, but it's a lot of time if you don't know what story to tell. Storytelling, it feels like a long time, but if you try to get everything out, here's what I recommend people: what is it? Why is it? Why you for it? Right? Why should I care about it? Like, get that out in that short time, and in the second round for pull-up and pitch, you get 3 minutes. So you're doing that 60 seconds to get that thumbs up or thumbs down from the judges. If you get 3 thumbs up, you get $500. You get to go to the next round. 1 thumbs up, you get $200. 2 thumbs up, you get $250.
I saw a statistic, and you can let me know if it's true or not, that 90% of startups fail. Is that true? And if so, why? And what advice would you give to people to make sure you're not in that 90%?
90% of startups fail for sure. I think the word startup, the route that it has taken over the course of time is that startup has been like people trying to go at tech companies. But what we find in the Black and brown communities is that a lot of people are starting things that are for their community. So you might have a chance at that 3-year mark. The thing that you got to get keen on is how your business model. How does your business work? Who is the absolute audience for it? And how do you grow those two things together?
What's next for BGV and for Omi Bell? You're doing multiple things. You got a radio show, I think, maybe even a television show. You're doing a lot.
Well, now what I'd be remiss if I didn't take time broadcasting in Detroit to honor the late great Joe Madison. And so
Who
as a
was
part of
well known here in Detroit, got his start here in Detroit before he went to
absolutely.
Washington, D.C.
And so I am on Urban View Mornings on Tuesdays live from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. from the Black Eagle Studio, which was his time slot. So I'm so honored to be there and carry on his legacy. So I do have that Sirius XM show, not a TV show yet, but from your mouth to God's ears, because maybe we'll get there.
Well, we just put it on you, okay?
Yeah, there you go. You just manifested it with me. In 2026, Black Girl Ventures will be 10 years old. So we'll be back in Detroit doing a pull-up and pitch. We'll also be back in Detroit with one of our other programs, which is called the Emerging Leaders Fellowship. You get a $5,000 stipend for participating, and it's a 12-week-long business and leadership development program. So we'll be back in Detroit with 2 programs in 2026.
10 years from now, where do you see yourself and your company?
The testament to my legacy is that somebody's child is like, because my mom got funding, or my dad or my parent got funding from BGV, we were able to sustain. I was able to go to college. I was able to live my life and believe in my own dreams. That would be the testament to my legacy. That is what I was able to do for my children with entrepreneurship, is put them through college. And I want to see business sustainability lead to sustainability of community and strengthening families.
Creating legacy wealth.
That's right.
All right. Omi Bell, thanks so much for coming in. If people want to get more information about your organization, the pull-up and pitches and everything else that you're doing, should they just go to the website?
blackgirlventures.org. Social media is a great one. So if you're on Instagram or TikTok, at Black Girl Ventures. If you're on LinkedIn, also we put a lot of information there and resources for small business owners. So follow us everywhere.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing all this information and also focusing in on Detroit and realizing the wealth of talent and the young entrepreneurs that are in our own backyard. And best of luck to you. And let's stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you now. And coming up on Spotlight, WXYZ Digital Director Alex Bahu on the big news her team broke this past week. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Alex, welcome to Spotlight.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
And I know
I'm
it's really
excited.
Alexandra, but you told me the only person that says Alexandra is your mother.
My mom when she's mad. Yep. I appreciate Alex.
All right.
That's good.
All right, then we won't say Alexandra because we aren't upset with you at all. WXYZ.com, our website, is always reporting the news. But you made some news this week when you announced that you reached 1 million followers on Facebook. That's a milestone.
It is. It's a big milestone, and it's definitely a testament to everyone here. Everyone across departments touches.
It's a team effort.
It's a huge team
I mean, you
effort.
get to be sort of the point person to marshal everything in, but it's every department in different ways, all the various personnel contributing in one form or another to reach that.
Absolutely, from weather to sports to Chuck Stokes,
Yeah, they do a better job than I do, I'm sure.
But all of our reporters are anchors, the great content that they do. It's really a testament to them in reaching that follower count. And for me, I'm excited about the milestone because I think it underscores, the value of local journalism and people saying, you know what, I want to follow your content. I want to see what's happening across communities. And so I think that's really great.
And that was a goal this year for your department, something that you've been working on for years. It goes up a little bit every year.
Every bit, yeah.
Right, and it keeps growing, but you kind of have to set those bars and say, we want to reach that and then keep going.
Absolutely. Setting those goals and figuring out, the algorithm is tough. No one can really figure it out, right? But we experiment and we try to figure out ways to package the news content in different ways so that we meet viewers where they are, whether they're on Instagram, whether they're on Facebook or TikTok. We just, try to do that. So
to reach 1 million followers, not 1 million likes, which is very different, right?
it is a little bit different. You know, I think, you know, when you like, you can also follow. When you follow, you're intentionally saying, like, I want to see your content. You can like and unfollow. It's kind of like a good job, you know, but followers are really saying, you know, I want to see your content, what's going on in our communities. And so I think it's a really good milestone to hit.
This is to television and broadcast industry what circulation was or is to newspapers?
I think that's a good comparison, you know, because that means we're reaching more people, we're getting our content in front of more people. So it's definitely a positive thing for us, yeah.
Yeah. These things that we walk around with,
Yep.
They have become our umbilical cord. I was kidding you the other day and saying if you leave your house and you get halfway down the street or a mile away and suddenly realize you don't have your cell phone, people stop, turn around, and go back. There's no way I can make it all day without my cell phone.
Well, I remember, you know, back in the day when I was reporting, you know, out and about, and we would have to use MapQuest. So we'd print out the MapQuest, and I'm so bad with directions. I'd miss a turn, and I'd be like, where am I going? So for
I
me,
go back to the days when they used to have to get your triptych from AAA. So,
Oh, boy.
so that
Oh,
goes
boy.
way back, but I'm dating myself. Yeah.
But that for me is why I need my phone. I need to navigate. I need to, you know, figure out where to go. But, you know, it becomes part of our everyday routine. And a lot of people, you know, Pew Research says that a little more than half of the people in the U.S. get their news, at the very least sometimes, from social media. So a lot of people, you know, they're waking up, they're scrolling through Facebook, they're scrolling through Instagram, they're kind of seeing, you know, what updates in the morning, you know, what's going on in the morning before you get out the door. So a lot of people just rely on it to stay informed, you know, to communicate with each other, to navigate around.
Right, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, I want to talk about some of the stories that maybe did very well on social media this year and why you think they did so well. We'll be right back with Alex Bahu right after this. Social media, where do you see it going? Because it's obviously not going away by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I mean, it's funny because I think the last time I was on Spotlight was maybe more than a decade ago, and we were talking about social, you know, and here I am, and we'll have to pencil in 10 years from now, you know, another episode where we talk digital, but, you know, I think it's just going to keep growing. You know, now we see the rise of artificial intelligence, right? Which can be confusing for people on social media. They might see something and think it's a news story or think it's real, and it's actually AI. And so I think people are kind of learning how to be digital stewards in that regard, seeing something and not immediately assuming that it's real, and going and verifying or checking with local media outlets to make sure the information they're getting is accurate.
And that's so important nowadays because so much stuff comes on our computer and so much happens in the social media world that can look like it's absolutely legitimate and factual, but you've got to check and double check and figure out what are your reliable sources. What's the best way of doing that?
Local newspapers, your local TV stations, broadcasts, you know, going them for trusted information is always a good thing to do. Checking multiple sources, you know, that you trust is always good to just double check that what you're seeing is accurate, or reaching out to them too, saying, hey, I saw this, can you confirm this? Can you reach out to officials and see if this is true? You know, there are several different ways to do that and make sure what you're seeing is real.
Alex, as you look back on these last 12 months, because only a couple weeks left before we go into 2026, what were some of the major stories that did very well on social media and that helped to get you to this 1 million followers probably?
Well, I mean, you know, you can look year to year. I think a lot of people come to social media for real-time information, especially in breaking news events, you know. A lot of times it's sad news, but I think it's also like a safety thing, right? People in the community are getting rumblings of something going on, maybe next door or down the street, and they want to know, you know, what's happening? What do we know? Some of the big stories of the year, obviously, I mean, it's sad, but the attack in Grand Blanc. We had the water main break in Southwest Detroit.
Huge.
You know, a lot of people just searching for information. So they're looking on Facebook, they're looking on Instagram. But what does that look like on social media? You know, obviously you get your news from air and on the websites, but for social, maybe that comes in the form of a vertical video of someone who witnessed what was happening, and you hear their story, or it's a live stream of police giving an update, you know, on YouTube. Sometimes we do infographics that, you know, here's what we know about what's going on from officials, and we kind of break out the information that way. So it's always kind of packaged in different ways. And then my other favorite part of stories that really resonate on social is just that human connection, you know. People
Personalities.
people doing good things in the community. Jeffrey Lindblom just had a story about this 4-year-old who was collecting cans so he could give money for dogs that are homeless, you know, and that type of
It's the human interest, I think, that it fascinates people, especially in a world where there's so much crazy news going on all the time. You need something that kind of makes you smile during the day.
Yeah, and people want to lift up other people. They really do, especially if it's in your community, you know, like someone in your town is doing something remarkable, helping other people. You know, we really see a lot of people rally around those kind of stories on social as well.
Do you see a big spike? Obviously, breaking news, as you've
Sure.
articulated well, but whether it's like big events that happen, you know, I think back to when the NFL draft was here.
Yeah.
Of course, I would think that would do very well, or sports events, or debates, or just the Dream Cruise, things of that name, tree lightings, all those sorts of things. Normally, do you see a big spike on those types of things?
Well, people love that stuff too, and again, it goes back to real time, right? Things happening in real time. We have a great sports department. You know, as games are going on, they're sending out updates on our Facebook platform and our social platforms. Even the draft, every little update, like where you can get in line, timing for everything, minute by minute sort of play by plays also do well. We even see like during the Super Bowl after the halftime performance, what do you think of the halftime? Everyone wants to react. Everyone wants to be part of the conversation, as it's happening. So that, of course, is a big driver too.
Yeah, and finally, personalities make a big difference, especially when you've got multiple local stations. They're all competing against each other, and it's fun competition. People don't realize a lot of times we've got friends at the other stations around town, but I think they like to be able to see our anchors and our weather personalities and our sports personalities do things that maybe sometimes are a little outside of what their day-to-day job, but it shows their personality.
Absolutely, because again, social media goes back to connecting, community. I think sometimes people look maybe at people on TV or doing other things like maybe as robots, but at the end of the day, we're real people and we enjoy different things. And, seeing one of your favorite news anchors or news reporters, sharing a favorite recipe that they like to cook at home, it builds that community and it builds that connection. And I think that's really fun. Or
I was kidding earlier, or watching Mike do his dancing.
There you go.
All right, he'll get us for that. All right, Alex Bahu, thank you so much for coming in, sharing this good news. 1 million followers for WXYZ.com. And what's the goal next year, 2 million?
Sure, we'll get 2 million followers on Facebook.
No pressure,
no
Alex, no
pressure.
pressure. All right, I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. We hope you have a great week.